Welcome back to Appalachian Dim Sum,
where our entertainment is our comfort food.
and this is episode 45,
Yeah. And
coming up on 50.
This is our 13th month of recording at this point.
It is. We've gone a full year.
Yeah.
This is our first recording session of the second year.
Yeah.
So if you are seeing us for the first time today, there's a lot of stuff. Podcast on Spotify or YouTube, we record it. Video. You go back and watch. There's a lot of content.
As it progresses, they become increasingly more organized. I think when we first started, it was just like, let's record.
Yeah. Neither of us had ever done anything like this. I stammer a lot, kind of thing. I say a lot, but I've gotten better, and I think we've both gotten better at this.
I think one of our first things is we took on mishandled franchises, and then one thing talked about Aliens and Predator and Terminator and like The Matrix and all these. It's like every one of those should have been their own topic.
It was like 4.5 hours long.
We tried to just throw all those into one. It was like,
Yeah.
wow, that's...
You live and you learn.
we
That was a mistake.
Appalachians are famous for biting off more than we can chew.
Is that true? Then I'm definitely an Appalachian.
But
I
we also don't learn. We just keep coming back.
respect my heritage. But yeah, start of a new year for us anyway. We're getting back into what we enjoyed for this past month.
Yeah, and that is our appetizer section.
Yep.
The
Main course.
the main course is going to be Evangelion, which we drew at the end of our last one from our little, used to be fortune cookie pot, and now it is our gachapon ball pot,
Yeah.
where we just have a random topic that we picked from earlier into a ball, and we pull those out. We'll get to that. That'll be our next episode, but we always try to theme a full episode or a full series, I guess, is appetizer, a main course, a dessert, and a coffee service, and they all try to relate to that main topic. The appetizers usually don't quite as much what we talk about, because it's what we've been watching, what we've been playing, what we've been reading, that kind of stuff, and that changes by the week. But we also do try to work a food back into it, and our chef from another life,
Yeah.
Randy, is good at kind of taking whatever our topic is, which this time it's Evangelion, and trying to find some way to relate it to it and tie in some sort of Appalachian twist to it too. So that got us to today's appetizer, which he can tell you about.
Yeah, I decided that looking at what the food stuffs in Evangelion, Ray likes miso soup.
Yeah.
So I decided to do a miso soup with a little bit of a twist, Appalachian twist. So what I did was I got some sesame miso, and I used beef and vegetable broth to fill out the soup.
Yeah.
Put a couple of soft-boiled eggs in there, with some bacon,
Some bacon.
a little bit of spinach, and some red peppers.
Yeah, it was like a Szechuan chili flakes.
Yeah, extra spicy.
Yeah, they were.
They were good.
But it was all, if you've ever been anywhere where you have like the little hot pots or the bowls of stuff, whether that's in like a Chinatown or if you've been overseas or been to Japan, going to ramen shops, this really was like that, because he's gotten better at it. I'm trying to kind of remember to do this more often myself too, to soft boil eggs, where you have that little bit of runniness still to them. It's very popular in all those ramen bowls, and it's so good in there, where you just cut it in half, let the ramen, you get those chilies on top of it, and just throw in half an egg.
I've always loved hard-boiled eggs just in general,
Yeah.
and I always shied away from soft-boiled eggs because I was afraid I would do it a little too soft.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like 6 to 7 minutes. That's like the rule. 6 to 7 minutes, perfect. Soft-boiled eggs are great.
That little bit of runny yolk and stuff, I'm sure it's growing up here in America, where people try to make you afraid of everything. They're like, oh, you'll catch salmonella and blah, blah, blah. It's like I learned a trick from Japan when we were there, just to take sushi rice, short grain rice, get it good and hot, crack a raw egg over it, and then put a little bit of soy sauce on it and just stir it up. And that heat from the rice will cook that egg enough, and it's enough to not purify, but enough to kind of cook the egg a little bit. And
Well, you can.
you're basically eating a raw egg, and but it's so good. And I've done that for years, and I've never gotten sick from that. It's just fear mongering in our food.
The temperature that you have to get an egg to kill the salmonella in it or the possibility of the traces of salmonella that might be in it is below its like hard boiling point.
Yeah.
So you just got to get it right at that spot to where it's just enough to kill the salmonella, but not enough to cook the egg.
I think that's why that like little Japanese snack works, is because it's getting steamed and it's you do it right. As soon as that rice comes out and it's hot, and I think that probably is by mixing it around, you're exposing it all to the heat and sort of flash killing anything that might be there. And we have immune systems for a reason.
You are so right about growing up and being paranoid because of what we're told about food and everything.
Yeah.
I've made homemade mayonnaise before, and it's wonderful. It's fantastic. But I'm paranoid for like 2 days after I eat it. Because I'm like, am I going to get sick because I ate raw eggs? So
I don't even know where it came from, our branch of the family, but there was somebody that was obsessed with like worms. It's like, you eat that, you're going to get worms.
you're going to get worms.
I was like, really?
I mean, raw bacon and raw fish, that's about all.
Yeah. I think we're worm free. But
do you want to make a note that Ray Ayanami would not like our miso soup? She's a vegetarian.
Yeah, because we had beef.
Yeah. I mean, beef
Broth.
egg, bacon.
Oh, yeah.
None of it.
Yeah. They could have made another clone of her and adjusted her to
That's right.
to be able to handle meat.
This one likes beef. Then she eats shinji.
This one hits protein. Maybe that's what was wrong with her. Didn't have enough protein.
Maybe.
We'll get more into Evangelion as we get to that episode. It's
a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm even prepared to talk about it, and I've watched it all. But we'll go on to our appetizers, which again is the things that we've been watching just here in the last few weeks.
And a couple of these, I did want to mention how we talked about last episode, one of our previous episodes, how we have all these desserts that we look forward to, and we bring all these movies that we
our desserts
would like to see.
Started out just being watching trailers.
Yeah, that's what it was at first.
We're trying to sort of figure out how to twist it back to keeping it that way, but we're just having to navigate how you put a trailer on YouTube.
Yeah, we got copyright stricken worldwide. So that was fun. In that episode, if you watch it, I just like mute it for that period of time.
Yeah.
And put a blocker, like a censor block. But
all these trailers and stuff we watched. That's the challenge of that segment of that show for us, is that you see something that you want to see, and then it's like, well, it's on this streaming service, or it's on that streaming service, or it was in the theater for 6 days and then it went out. And it's really so much harder nowadays to track something down and watch it, unless you just want to pay at the wazoo and have every streaming service. Where, back when I was in college, even, you just went to 2 weeks or a month after something left the theaters, you just went to your local store and you rented it. And you could rent it on VHS and then eventually DVD. And
when streaming first started, I think everyone had this dreamy idea of every possible thing that had ever come out would be available to you if you wanted it.
Yeah, and you wouldn't have to spend all this money making all this physical stuff, and then everybody got greedy and it's like, I'm going to start my service. And I'm going to have a phone server. I'm going to have a streaming service tied into this phone service, and you can only get it if you buy our phone. And I'm like, no, that's just not a good system.
I've spoken about the Fly series, Fly 2, and now the Fly Outbreak comic I spoke about a couple episodes ago. But I've talked about it multiple times throughout the past year. It's because it's one of my favorite. I love those movies. I cannot find the Fly 2 to watch streaming anywhere.
It was one of my favorite ones that I brought that we've done so far was The Empty Man. I'm obsessed with that whole world of stuff, and so we're tracking down comics. I haven't even got into reading the ones that we've tracked down yet.
Yeah, I meant to bring this to you. I'll bring it to you next time.
But as that topic was kind of approaching, I think I had it into our bowl of things to pick from. I got to looking, it's like, it's not anywhere, and you can't buy a physical copy of it.
Right.
And I did the eBay thing and probably have some South American bootleg of it that I bought because it was available. And I'm like, I'm going to get it now because it makes no sense that I can't get this. And we got lucky that it just popped right back onto Hulu probably about a month or a few weeks before we actually drew it out as a topic, so we were able to watch it. But I don't understand the whole idea of there being material out there and it just not even being available.
And speaking of not available, All You Need Is Kill. That was one of the ones we talked about, and I earnestly tried to go see that film in the theaters. I don't know if I missed it because when we recorded and we were talking about it, I looked it up at that time and it looked like it was in the theaters.
Yeah.
But like the following Tuesday, I tried to go see it, and it was nowhere.
I remember whatever it is you saw. It looked like it was going to be in the theaters for a couple weeks. And
Yeah.
I was like, we had to go out of town. I was like, it'll still be there when we get back. Maybe Monday or Tuesday after we get back, we'll go catch it. Which that's actually this Monday and Tuesday of this week. And it's like, nope, it's nowhere to be seen. So
The only thing I could think of is maybe I was looking at like Florida or something, or like L.A. Like the location was somewhere else.
yeah, it might have been an actual city that has functional theaters.
Right.
I'll get to that when I get to talking about one of our movies that I went to go see, but just how pitiful Roanoke is compared to other places.
But a movie we both did get to watch this past month was The Naked Gun.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it come to Prime. We talked about it. I don't know when did it even come out? Probably August or September of last year.
Yeah,
or something.
it was toward the end of the year.
One of those things I kind of forgot about, and then it popped up on Prime. I was like, hey, I don't have anything else to do tonight. Let's watch that.
Mm-hmm.
It was surprisingly good.
It really was.
I think you were talking at one point that whether or not did they choose Liam Neeson because he sounds like
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did. I mean, it's too close. Leslie Nielsen, Liam Neeson.
Because that was kind of my thought when I first saw the preview. I was like, why on
Why is
earth
he
did they
here?
pick Liam Neeson
Yeah.
to be in this thing of all the comedy actors that you could have picked? I was like, I don't know if that's going to work, but I was kind of surprised it kind of did.
Well, when it first came out, mostly because I am a fan of Liam Neeson, I was open to the idea. And I liked the old Naked Gun, so I'm like, hey, give me more of that, that's fine. But I was really trepidatious about it because the Naked Gun franchise was so dependent on Leslie Nielsen's humor, his comedy.
The only thing I kind of was basing it on was before social media and before you found out that Robert De Niro is a crybaby that is intolerable. I really liked some of his movies. All his old gangster stuff and stuff like that. And then he did this thing where he tried to shift in and start doing comedy. And I was just like, it just seemed to me like he was hard up for money, taking all these stupid roles. And I didn't think he was a good comedy actor. And I was just like, I kind of feared that would be the same thing with him. It's like, you get old, you can't do action movies anymore, so let's do comedy. I'm like, that doesn't really work sometimes, or most of the time.
I think he pulled it off, though. At times, I felt it was a little try-hard. And like in another comedy, like not even just a non-comedy film, but in a different comedy, it might not have worked. Yeah. But for the humor of The Naked Gun, it worked.
All those movies are like that with me, where you just get bombarded with jokes that is kind of hard to absorb them.
It's joke after joke after joke after joke. If
the
10
part of that
seconds
movie
passed without a joke or a gag or something,
Yeah.
I'd be surprised.
The part that stuck out with me in that movie that I really laughed probably the hardest at was him eating the hot dog, trying to get to the bathroom, and then and the ongoing thing too that I thought was pretty clever is that everywhere they went, somebody was handing him a
cup
of coffee.
He
He'd be
was
like
driving down the road, someone put it in his window. Thank you.
that was good.
It was really good.
They drove some of those things into the ground too. It was like the snowman thing, wasn't it?
Yeah. There was a scene with a snowman, and it was as you're watching, you're thinking, okay, we get it, get on with it, because it starts off where they're just having a nice time up in the mountains, and there's snow, and they make a snowman, and then they find a Ouija board or a book of spells or something, and they draw a pentagram, and they summon some spirits, and it goes inside the snowman, but the snowman's nice, and they start a relationship with him, and they kind of had to have a threesome, but they push him away, and he gets mad. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It goes on forever.
It does. It goes on forever.
That was completely a reference to the first movie, the first Naked Gun movie, not the Police Squad stuff, where when he's dating, it's Priscilla Presley, right?
Yeah.
They go. It's like his little montage to something tells me something. I'm into something good by like Herman's Hermits, and they show him doing like being in a park, getting tattoos, like running on the beach, and doing all this crazy stuff. And then they come back home, and she's like, "Wow, that was a really fun like first date." And it was like, it's like okay, it's like yeah, they basically traveled the world and all back and forth in like 2 hours on their first date. But I think that was definitely trying to sort of build off of that. But it was, I think, try hard is it's probably the right term for that.
And a lot of the humor like they did have like straight up jokes, straight up sight gags and stuff like that, like with the dog. And I mean, it's just it's almost a stereotype. He's looking at them through like a shade, so he just sees their silhouettes.
Yeah.
And they have a turkey baster, and they're like feeding the dog the turkey baster and in compromising ways. And I mean, it's funny, but it's like, all right, we get it. But and then some of the jokes are that way too. And like this one, drunk Frank, a little just to wake me up. Okay, it's not even really a joke. Have you been drawn to the hills? This is Beth speaking to Frank. I've been drawn to the hills since I moved here for college. UCLA? I see it every day. I live here. What?
There was one of them too. The one that had because was it the 33 and the third? When they're asking for a description of the guy, and they said something, he's like 6 foot tall, like big black mustache or something, or I can't even remember how they worded it. And he's like, "That's a big mustache." Those kind of little things are.
You've got quite the rap sheet. It says here you had 20 years for manslaughter. Must have been quite the joke. You mean manslaughter?
That's what I hate about trailers and previews is they spoiled that joke in the trailer. I was like, I hate it when they take some of the funniest parts of a movie and just beat them to death in a trailer before it ever gets here. Because then that is a great line, but I've heard that like 30 times before we even saw that movie.
I think literally the only criticism I could have of the entire film is they didn't open it with the police squad like point of view chase from the police car.
Got the little top of the if you haven't ever seen it, like the old police squad show, movies, all that stuff, top of the car with the little spinning red light.
Cherry.
Would always start off like chasing somebody down the street, and then it would go through like a car wash, and then it would go like into like a woman's locker room, and then onto roller coaster tracks.
Onto the Death Star at one point.
Yeah, like flying down the little alley in the thing.
That's right.
That I'm surprised that they threw it into the credits, right?
They did. It was afterwards in the credits.
Yeah.
Which I did appreciate that. But it would have been fun to see like a modern take on that.
Yeah, they should have opened with that and would have tied all of the properties together a little better. But,
now he does actually play Frank Jr. He is his son.
Yeah.
And apparently in 33 and a third, like at the end, she brings him his son. So, like age-wise, he's supposed to be like 35. And I like it that they don't ever even mention that. That's like almost an inside joke.
That's probably one of those things too that there's probably somewhere that would be like, hey, that doesn't like match up with what's in this other movie. But most people that have seen Naked Gun movies are just like, I don't even remember what happened. I was trying to remember is Robert Guillaume or somebody was in the 33rd. It's like one of those old like lounge Vegas singers.
Oh, I have no idea who would it be.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not well versed on Vegas lounge singers.
It was the events of any of those movies outside of the first one. It's like I can't remember the first one with the Queen and OJ and all that stuff. That's pretty memorable, but
that is one thing actually. It's not a complaint at all, but that is an interesting thing to point out how movies like back in the 80s and 90s would use like contemporary politicians and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like this isn't contemporary at all. It doesn't use anything.
Well, it's because politics has absolutely no sense of humor anymore at this point.
Makes me even think of like Top Gun. How like the Top Gun Maverick, like the enemy was like the bad guys. They didn't say who the enemy was.
I think that even started back with the remake of Red Dawn.
Okay.
Where they were, it was like some sort of conglomerate from Asia.
Yeah.
I was like, you mean China? But they tried to act like it was led by like a Korean or like a North Vietnamese delegation or something. It was just like, why don't you just say it?
Well, they got to get the international money now.
The first one was like, we're fighting Russia.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, yeah.
What'd you think of Pamela Anderson?
I'm completely sold on women my age being more attractive than when they're younger.
I am very, because it's interesting because there's a group of actors and actresses that were adults when I was a child, but they were only like 10 years to 15 years older than me.
She's probably just about my age.
So so they're at the point now where they're still getting work, and they're middle aged, and I think that's great because I don't remember when I was younger, I don't remember there being a lot of middle aged actors. I think it's great.
I mean, she's funny. Two,
Yeah, she knocks it out of the park.
She's
really
good at the role, and two, that I don't know. I think that maybe it's just my taste change as I get old, but I think she's much more attractive than all the ones that Hollywood is trying to shove down your throat all the time.
I really don't think this movie would have worked if they had a younger actress paired up with Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Well, there's like a scene, I don't remember all the details of it, where she was like singing in a bar, and just the way that she takes off on the sort of jazz scat, whatever you call it.
Yeah, it's just scat.
That was good. That's not as easy to do as you think that would be, just being stupid in a movie. It's like
right. So yeah, watch it. If you enjoyed the original Naked Guns, you'll enjoy this one, no doubt.
Yeah. Like I said, they couldn't work in any political jokes at this point, because that immediately makes people be like, oh, it's a right-wing movie, or it's a left-wing movie. It's like, I guess they're at least smart enough to be like, let's just make it about like fart jokes. And
this is what we've talked about before, how people complain like you can't comedy's dead, you can't be funny anymore. This proves you can.
Yeah.
I mean, this was an hour and a half of laughs. So
yeah, like I said, maybe it made a little try hard, but it was it's a good case study for maybe to bring a few more comedies our way.
Yeah. A complete right turn into weapons.
Well, I know you saw this back
when
it came
in
out.
The theater when it came out. Yep.
And it was kind of one of those things too that's like, how do you talk about this movie without spoiling it? Because that's the whole point of the movie, is to find out what the mystery is. I did not even see the whole thing as we're traveling. This was on in one of the hotel rooms, and I think I picked it up at the point where the police officer Paul is beating up the guy James. So I missed the thing at the beginning, but I knew what happened. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing that I basically missed, and I went back and read the synopsis just to see, was that the kids all ran off. Mm-hmm. The
inciting incident.
The dad, Josh Brolin, and people kind of targeted the teacher as like,
right,
it had to be her fault, and I think that's basically right. She went out and got drunk and hooked up with her old ex that was this police officer guy. Mm-hmm. And then that's where I picked it up. Because I think I actually turned on the TV to them hooking up. I was flipping through the channels, and it was like...
That's what got you to stop. Oh, hey.
Well, no,
I know her.
I was like, is that Julie Gardner?
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't think she did these kind of movies. And I was like, no, wait, this is Weapons. And I started watching them there. It wasn't hard to pick up, because they have it segmented into... by characters, like 6 segments, isn't it? Where it kind of goes through her story, and I don't even know if I have them all labeled out or not, but because then they go through like the story of like the police officer. I never did figure out why, and I don't know if you picked up something that I missed. They made a big deal over him, like when he was fighting with the guy James, the homeless kind of drug dude, of him getting stuck by the needle. Did that have any other significance?
It was just so he could get mad and go too far. Okay. That was it. I thought it would be. I thought I thought that was something. Yeah, I thought he would get like a disease or something, but no. Yeah. As far as I recall, it had no other significance in the film.
Yeah. But from there, you start to get all the stuff, and then finally the center point of the movie, Gladys, shows up at the school, and that's Amy Madigan playing this just awful makeup, yellow teeth.
Fantastic actress.
Just nasty looking thing.
They nailed it.
Amy Madigan is the Uncle Buck's girlfriend, and oh my goodness, the wife from Field of Dreams. That's how I know her.
Oh, okay.
Kind of.
Let's see what else she's done.
I know her from all the younger stuff, and they talk about how people have doppelgangers out there. My kindergarten teacher is this woman's doppelganger, or vice versa. That's where they're borderline identical. They have the same mannerisms and stuff like that. So it's like, I think that's one of the reasons I always liked her as an actress, because like, that's Miss Gates. It's my kindergarten teacher. But yeah, do we want to go into any kind of plot stuff?
I'm looking through her filmography, and
I think I don't really see anything that jumps out to be like, oh, okay.
I mean, she's done a lot. She's been
The things that people
steadily
would know
working.
would be Uncle Buck and Field of Dreams.
Yeah.
Those are really her two biggest things. She's done a lot of indie stuff. I've seen some of those.
Yeah, a
and
lot of it. Sensitivity training, how to get away with murder, rules don't apply, stuck,
Yeah.
a crooked somebody.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of movies that she was in, and they were just these weird
Oh,
independent.
she was in The Hunt as Ma.
Hmm.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
It's a good film.
yeah. Some of the
Yeah,
stuff,
we can get to some of the plot points if you want to.
some of the other stuff that she's been. I've watched these movies, and they've been like, "Oh, cool, it's Amy Madigan." Then you watch 10 minutes, like, I don't want to watch this because this is some weird independent thing that isn't about a storyline that I want to follow. But yeah, Gladys like shows up, kind of the at the school, says the parents can't come. Talking to Marcus, that's Benedict Wong from Doctor whatever in the
Doctor
Marvel.
Strange.
I always want to say Doctor Who, but Doctor Strange and the Marvel stuff. Says he wants to go check on Marcus or on Alex, the little kid, and then and then she shows up. That's kind of like
Shows up at the school.
Well, she shows up at Marcus's house right after that. After coming to the school, and Marcus is there with his husband, of course, because we have to have that in every movie.
And she gets invited. She gets invited into the
But
kitchen.
cuts off some of Marcus's hair, husband's hair, and then uses like wraps around the wand, and Marcus kills the husband, and then he starts like zombie running down the road because she's got some of Justine's hair from earlier. I think when Justine, in her part of the story, she went to go watch the house and she fell asleep outside the house, sitting there watching it. She came out and like cut some of her hair.
Yeah, and the wand is like a thorny branch from a bush or
it's
a
like
plant.
You wrap hair around it, you put blood on it. And
It's
like,
her blood, right?
I think so.
Yeah, she doesn't need their blood. She needs their hair and her blood.
Yeah,
And that's like
I don't know if it has to be
it's
hair.
attaching them.
It's a
to
personal
her.
belonging of theirs. Like
Oh, so not just the hair. It's something that belongs to
because
them.
when you get to the flashback with the kids, like she sent Alex to school.
Oh yeah, just bring me something.
and
of
he took
theirs.
something out of everybody's like
That's
cubby.
right.
So I guess it could be anything. But
Something that's theirs. Very voodoo.
Alex, where I picked it up, you started with the cop beating the dude up, and then straight into this thing with Marcus to where she possesses him. He chases her down, tries to kill her at the gas station, keeps chasing her after she flees there and goes out on the road and just gets plowed. And I'm like, well, you've drawn me into this movie now. I've only watched 15 minutes of it, but you got me.
I would definitely say it's a high octane film for sure.
Yeah,
for the
definitely.
type of film it is, at least.
I say this all the time that I like scenes, and there are some really, really striking, very iconic scenes in this movie. Like just him, Benedict Wong, after he's possessed, he kind of looks like a mix between like a zombie and just like a crazy person. They're almost like anime running it. I think even he was too, where he's got his hands back and he's just running down the street. It's
the arms are out like wings.
Yeah. But then you get into like the Alex's story. I guess that's the sixth part of the movie, or the fifth part of the movie probably, where it kind of goes back and it sort of explains everything that's happened, and that she was supposed to be in bad health and coming to stay with the family, and then she takes control of them and talking about like just scenes that stick with you.
A fork.
She threatens Alex like, if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to kill your parents. And she has them sitting at the table with like a fork, and they just start like stabbing themselves in the face and in the hands and stuff. And she can make them stop. And of course, she scares the child to death. So then uses Alex to go to school, get something from all the kids, so that she can take all of the kids. And that takes you back to the beginning where everybody just runs out at like, what was it, 2:17 in the morning?
Something like that.
I don't know if that had any significance or not. I'd have to go back and watch that movie all the way through and probably see if there's little reasons for that. I think the other thing I missed too was that the Josh Brolin character has like a dream. I think that happened before I tuned in. He has a dream where there's like a AR-15 or something above a house, which
Oh yeah. Like,
kind of comes back into where all these people were trying to throw in all the stuff like this movie was about gun control and school shootings. And I've done some reading about this, which I'll get to here in just a second, about the filmmakers and stuff and what they were trying to say with the movie. And it's very, you talk about how people can kind of take whatever they want to from a movie. People have taken all sorts of stuff from this movie. And But yeah, they get back to the climax of sort of finding out this is where all the kids are at this house. Justine and Archer is Josh Brolin's character's name, I think.
Let's see.
They go back to the house. They're attacked by the police officer and the homeless guy because they've been bewitched by Gladys. Justine like kills them, and then Gladys gets some of Archer's hair or has something of his and makes Archer start attacking Justine. That's Josh Brolin.
Oh yeah, the spell, to cast the spell doesn't take very much time at all.
No,
and it's like instant.
Wrapping around. Is there a bowl or something? I can't remember. It's like she wraps stuff around it and gets blood on it, and I don't remember if she has to like stick it down in a bowl or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's neither here nor there. And then like the kid goes upstairs and his parents are up there. They try to chase him around. The parents are just kind of like guarding. I guess they're like guarding the room.
Guarding the room she's living in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he gets past them. And goes and gets her wig, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And makes the does the spell to where all the kids will attack Gladys, and then all the kids just break out of the basement, chase her out of the house, like through somebody else's house into a yard.
That's a great scene. Yeah, the family's just in their living room, and the kids bust through the back door, run through the living room, and they bust out the front window, bust through the front door. It's a crazy scene. And
crazy old doll lady running from them.
Get Gladys in the front yard.
They get her in the front yard and just
Literally tear her apart.
They go literally like one of the old Night of the Living Dead movies where they're just sitting there throwing parts up in the air and stuff. And of course that stops all the spells, breaks all the spells because she's dead. She's the reason behind all of it. Then it's kind of weird, and this is kind of where it gets into the stuff that I don't know where people knew what to do with it, where Alex, there's like a narration at the end. I don't know, was there a narration at the beginning?
I don't rightly recall.
I don't know if there was or not, but it just kind of comes in and says Alex moved because his parents were institutionalized and all the kids went home and some have begun talking again.
Yeah.
And then it's like...
Yeah, they weren't 100% broken from the spell. I mean, it seems like they were still under something.
Yeah. And that's the end of the movie. It's like they're just like, and some of them start talking again.
Yeah.
And I was like, huh. Okay. I was like, I'm not sure I'm processing all this. And my first reaction was I'd already heard that so many people were like, this was such an allegory for gun control and school shootings and how parents manipulate their children and blah 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 blah.
I enjoyed the movie with the witch. That's where I was.
I watched it and I was like, I don't think this is anything. I think it's a story about a witch.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a story about a witch that took some kids and the one kid turned on the witch and made the kids kill her.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Yep.
It's like the favorite thing that I've seen, and this is where I will say I'll jump in on this one just because I like to do this because it'll probably aggravate somebody, is that they have all of a sudden all these like letter groups have hailed Gladys as like an icon. And I do not understand. They say that there's people that are dressing up like her at drag shows and stuff like this, and it's like, I'll go with that allegory.
I mean, that culture really took to the Babadook as well 10 years ago at this point.
That's like, so what you're saying is you're gonna make an icon and emulate somebody that hijacks everybody's kids and uses them as weapons against their parents and undermines their parents' authority and threatens to destroy them like they did Alex or the parents even. The real was stabbing themselves in a fork. I guess in reality it would be like, if you question us or you say anything about us, we'll destroy you on social media and ruin your lives. Tells Alex that if he tells anybody that they'll hurt his family. I was like, oh my goodness.
Like what about this woman do you see as heroic or something to look up to?
Attacks everybody that dares to check on the kids.
Yeah. And
then in the end, it's all just about making herself feel better.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'll go with that allegory. It's like, y'all want to embrace that one? You got it. It's yours. There's an advertisement. It's like Gladys is she's like the public school teachers union personified. I was gonna just say it's a movie about a witch.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if y'all wanna add something or attach it to something, I'll attach it to that. Like that might be one of the greatest cell phones I think I've ever seen in my life.
If you have a group of people who's idolizing Gladys, it's not even a logical leap or a stretch to be like, so you're idolizing a person who is objectively horrible. Like, there's no redeeming qualities to
in
her at all.
every way possible. I mean, just
It was nice to just see a villain.
it's a great villain.
And I
And
I know
Amy Madigan did a great job with it. But
I know we see this a lot in like Marvel films and stuff, but in modern media, there's a lot of attempts to make villains like sympathetic and stuff like that. And I was glad just to, when she got tore apart, I was glad to be like, all right,
yeah,
good to go.
I was ready to say I think this movie was just a witch movie. I don't think it was about anything. But I was like, yeah, if y'all want to attach yourselves to that, sure, I support that 100%. I agree with you 100%.
I think Zach Krieger does really good modern fairy tales.
There's interesting stuff about him, and I don't know enough about him, but they said that like this movie, I don't remember if he wrote it or if it was happening
Wrote and directed this, yeah.
as a friend of his. Basically, like he fall off a balcony and die because he was like drunk or high or something.
Ooh.
It was something like that. I don't quote me on that. And that really, I think for him, if he was making it about anything other than a witch, it was probably about like alcoholism and addiction.
Yeah, losing control of your own body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But again, I thought it was pretty good. I saw a lot of people was like, "Oh, it was pretty good," but the ending was stupid. I was like, not really. I mean, if you want, what else were they?
Her getting torn apart was stupid.
I don't know. That was the thing I heard before I watched it. I was like, it's a pretty good movie, but it just didn't really finish strong. And it was like, what else was supposed to happen? It was like they killed the bad guy.
Yeah.
So what else do you want to do? Do we want to sit around and talk for another 45 minutes about the bad guy? Or I don't know if it's because they just, that little thing about the kids went back and some of them talked again, maybe feels kind of hollow, like you wanted more resolution there or something. I don't know. I kind of like the movie. I want to go back and see it all again. I want to see if there's something there that I'm missing. But I don't think I'll throw it up there as like my favorite film of the year or anything.
No, I would say that it makes me believe in Krieger's ability.
He made scenes that made me uncomfortable, made you tense, were frightening, and were graphic. And I mean, the character design of Gladys to be just a good horror character was great. I mean, she was terrifying.
And I've told you before that I liked Barbarian, but I only liked it up until like the midway point. I feel like it was one of those things, and a lot of movies do this. Wonderful first act, wonderful setup, and then they just drop the ball.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I felt like Barbarian was. And I was worried about weapons, and I was waiting for him to drop the ball. I don't feel like he ever did.
That's what I heard a lot of people say about it, and
So
like
some
I said,
people think that he did drop the ball.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. Where I didn't see the ball get dropped, I also didn't see any allegories to whatever little social issue you wanted to attach to it. I think it was just a horror movie about a witch. Was it Hansel and Gretel, basically?
Yeah, it was basically a Hansel and Gretel film.
Well, modern day Hansel and Gretel. If you want to have a deep discussion about it, go back and read a book, read a fairy tale.
All right. Well, our next film isn't exactly a horror film, but it's body horror together.
I watched it last night.
Yeah. Okay.
The ads really do sell it as something that's going to be pretty horrific.
Yeah.
And then I saw like a thing today when I was just looking at stuff before we got all our stuff together, is they had it listed as a horror comedy.
Comedy?
And I was like,
I don't see it.
nah.
I mean, I love dark comedies. I don't see a comedy in this at all.
Nah.
It's a horror drama, I would say.
It was a pat on the head, nice attempt. I think that's what I would say.
Okay, first, one of the first things I do want to say is I was convinced that this was James Franco in this film. In the trailers, I just saw James Franco, and like the second Dave Franco came up on, I was like, "Hey, it's Dave! Oh, it's Dave, not James." I'm going to forgive myself of that because they are very similar.
What is the remake of Romeo and Juliet? That's a zombie movie. Warm Bodies.
Okay, I didn't know there was a remake of Romeo and Juliet.
He was in that, and we watched that movie. I think I watched it a couple times. We saw it in the theater. I think we watched it at home again, maybe with our kids or something. So for whatever reason, that movie has me kind of keyed in on Dave Franco.
Okay.
See him
You clock him.
I see him in a lot of other things, and I do kind of like him better than James Franco. But,
After I've watched Together, we've been watching the Stephen King film about the assassination of JFK, like 11. I call it the James Franco show because
yeah,
11/23 something.
Yeah, it's just the date.
It's the date. And yeah, I definitely, after watching Together and then watching something with James Franco, they are very clearly different actors. It's just I don't think I had seen either of them in anything in a while. So
There's a lot of younger
that was my mistake.
James Franco stuff that I liked, and then he kind of got into that Seth Rogen group of let's all smoke weed and talk about how funny it is to smoke weed and make movies about how funny it is that we all smoke weed. And I was just like,
He also got Me Too'd, so
okay.
that's one of the reasons Dave's probably getting more work.
Well, interesting too. Dave Franco with Alison Brie.
Alison Brie.
They're married.
They're married?
Yeah, they've been married for a while too. So it's not like they just got married because they shot this movie. So probably a little bit interesting thing to put them through as a married couple to be.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
To make a movie about a couple that's been married for a while and how you move forward as you start to get comfortable with each other and stuff. But that's the premise was that he's a 30-something-year-old musician in probably New York or somewhere, some city,
Struggling.
and she's a teacher and she's moving out of the city to take a job because she just didn't like being in the hustle and bustle and having whatever city she's in. I'm sure it'd be a school with like 3 times more children than a teacher could probably deal with. And half of them probably don't speak English, but so she takes a job out in the country and he doesn't really want to go, and I think that she even proposes to him at the beginning.
Yeah, she proposes to him.
And he kind of catches him off guard, and he sort of fumbles it, and then it just starts that whole awkward thing between them from the beginning of the movie that's kind of there for the rest of the time, and it kind of sets that tension of he kind of wants to stay, she doesn't. They're not getting along. They're not communicating.
The emotional push and pull of a relationship.
Yeah.
They're not 100% sure of where they're going. Are they growing together, or are they growing apart?
And then they get there, they go on a hike, fall into a cave.
Fall into an empty man cave.
Yeah.
It was stylistically, I was like, hey, I recognize that.
And
There's some water.
Drink some water there, but you already had a setup at the beginning of the movie, too.
Yeah, with the dogs.
Yeah.
They had a
start with
scene
dogs.
that was pulled directly out of, like, The Thing. And it was just the dogs drank this water out of this roady-looking pool.
There was a couple that went missing. There were people that were searching for this couple that was missing. And that part of the story writing was pretty good. I think that they did try to keep everything that they introduced as part of the story. But the movie starts off with a search for this missing couple. The 2 dogs that are helping them search get down into this hole. They drink from this pool of water, and then immediately they're like just staring at each other. And then
staring right at
next
each other.
night after, pretty recent after they come back home, they get awake.
I think it was like that night.
It might have been. Yeah. They get woken up by like this dog sound like they're struggling and go outside and find that the dogs are like
fused.
They're fused at the face.
And it's one of those things, and I think they did that well. It's one of those things where they show it just like real brief.
Yeah.
Just enough for you to be like, especially if you're in the theater.
Well,
you can't rewind it. You'd be like, whoa, what was that?
They do the thing too, like where the guy's standing there looking at the dogs, and he's got a flashlight down. They're actually showing the flashlight pointing down at the ground. Yeah. And you're like, are they going to show the dogs or not? And then he starts to raise the flashlight up, and yep, they're going to show the dogs. Mm-hmm. And then of course they show them, and they're just like, ah. But anyway,
the basic.
They fall down in that same hole.
Yeah.
When they're out hiking. He drinks from the same pool, and then
so I thought that was an interesting choice. Is like what's going to happen.
Yeah, they even fall asleep right there that night and wake up, and their legs are almost kind of fused together, like they're at the surface.
They think it's a mold.
Yeah,
or mildew.
He has to like rip his leg off of her, and they just kind of like
all sticky.
Okay, and then they go back, and she's at the school and meeting a teacher, and the teacher seems to kind of have a thing for her, and she's kind of interested in him, and Franco's supposed to go back and play like with his band back in the city.
And there's some tension in that moment when he leaves to leave.
Yeah, there's just constant tension back and forth. Like he can't drive, and they're doing that thing like where they're starting to point out. It's like, well, you can't cook. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
and you can't drive, and things that are not good for couples to do, to especially when you're around guests like they were there. They're having like a little dinner, and they're having that teacher over for dinner to be sitting there just down in each other. It's like, it's probably a good time to stop that, but then they
He goes to the school because when he leaves, he's walking down the road, and he's struggling because he has this urge to be with her.
well, like the first thing that really like shows you what's going on with this whole mysterious thing is like she drives to school,
Mhm.
and he's in the shower, and like
Oh, that's right, yeah.
as she's driving away, it's like it's almost like a
It's-
magnet.
He gets put in a trance.
He's like, anytime she turns, he's getting drawn to that side of the shower, and he's like slamming his face up against the thing. And as she turns this way, he just drags his face back across and is pressing against it so hard that it like breaks a tile. And then he wakes up and
bleeds.
he snaps out of it, and it's like,
I think she got far enough away.
yeah. And I was like, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But he comes down to the school because he just can't stay away from her at this point. And I don't want to get into the graphic part of that, but
They go into a child's bathroom
and hook
into
up.
one of the stalls and hook up and get stuck together like
Or
dogs.
they hook up and are unable to unhook.
Yeah, like a dog. that was a good scene. I thought it was played well. They're in the stall and they're trying to get unstuck, and they're both kind of freaking out. And it's showing
As they should be.
It's showing each other. They're showing the other person from the other person's perspective, and she looks at him terrified, covers his mouth, and says, "I'm sorry," and just pushes him.
Yeah.
Oh, pain.
Yeah. That was probably the point where I was like, this movie is really going to go 100%. This is going to get crazy. And it really, it's kind of, for me, it never went beyond that. I was looking for this to be
I have an
like
explicit reason why it doesn't.
I was definitely looking for it to be like, that's kind of the reason to tune in this thing. If you look at the picture they had with it, where their lips are like stuck together, it's like, this has got to be gross.
In the trailer, there was one scene where their faces were getting close, and their eyelashes were reaching for each other, and their eyeballs were getting pulled out of their skull. It was, yeah.
I was like, this is going to be off the wall crazy.
I was
And
expecting to feel very uncomfortable in this film.
and they never, whatever line they got to there in the bathroom, they backed away from, I think, for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
They at one point they get their arms stuck together, and they introduce what's the thing with the gun? Why you introduce the gun in a play? What's that called?
A Chekhov's gun or
Chekhov's
something like
gun.
that? Yeah.
They introduce like a sawzall
Yeah.
at the beginning of it. I'm like, well, we know that's coming back. He's like, this is like my dad's old tool. I don't even know how to use this thing. And they get to a scene where they're going to have to like separate at their arm, and the sawzall's right there, and they're going to do it. They're sitting there. They'd already popped a bunch of pain pills. And,
Before the pain pills and muscle relaxers,
Yeah.
before the Sawzall scene, excuse me, I was thinking that the movie talked about like what are movies saying? What are they about? I was thinking that it was like an allegory for codependency kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where because before the scene that leads to the Sawzall scene, it seemed like the draw was him to her.
Yeah.
She didn't seem drawn to him.
yeah.
But they were wanting. They kind of understood what was happening, and they knew they needed to stay apart, so they slept in separate bedrooms. And in the middle of the night, they both got woken up as they were being drugged down the hallway by their bodies toward one another.
She was like bending over like the wrong way and stuff.
Like
And
The
again,
Exorcist, yeah. And twisted.
I
and
thought that
stuff.
was kind of it taking it to the next step.
Yeah.
And again, I think they sort of shied away from it for whatever reason, because they get to the thing where they're stuck together at the arm, and when they try to cut it,
Yeah,
they don't even show anything.
when they grab each other's arms, their fingers go into each other's skin.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty seamless thing,
Yeah, and it's not.
and it didn't.
It's not like weirdly. They make a little bone popping sounds and
A little
stuff,
bit.
but it's not like.
It's not grotesque.
I didn't find it to be that gross. And
And this is the scene where I clocked why I wasn't getting that visceral, like, uncomfortable feeling.
Yeah.
Is it's very clearly and obviously CG.
yeah,
I wouldn't go far to say like the CG's bad. It's just obviously CG. If this was done practically,
this was done in the '80s. If you've ever used a saber saw or a sawzall, whatever you want to call it, with its little blade that if you stand one of those things up and just gun it, the blade is just like blah, 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 because it's literally just a flimsy piece of metal that's
Did they even really show the Sawzall part? I mean,
they started to
like just right at the beginning,
they
right?
just started to cut into it, and that was it.
Yeah.
And then they showed them bandaged up, and I was like, if I was in the '80s and you had a good director that
They would
wanted
have
to make
shown
a
the
horror
whole
movie,
way, blood spurting.
you would have had stuff blowing
Yeah.
up and screaming and blood all over your face, and I was just like,
Even the visual of like when their hands go into the arms, I would have liked to have seen like the skin split and open and consume the other person.
yeah,
And that didn't really happen. They just kind of like mushed together like
Yeah.
clay.
yeah. And I was starting to kind of get that. It's like we're it's almost like I could give me some time. I could go back and list hundreds of horror movies where it's like, man, they're going to go there, and it's like, they didn't.
Yeah.
Where they get to a premise where they could go and make something really striking and really stand out. And what was that thing, stop motion that I was watching? It's one of those movies that was like they did. I was like, this is gross. This is enough. It's like, I hope they don't keep doing this. And the next scene, they're just like cutting off pieces of bodies, and there's just like decaying meat falling on the floor and stuff in that movie. I was like, I can't watch any more of this. It's like, this is disgusting. And I was kind of hoping this really what this was. I don't know why. I know it sounds sick, but it's like that's the only reason to watch a movie like this is because I thought it was going to be like a gross
Skeeved
out
out.
movie.
Yeah.
Just to
Let's not go into like the ending spoilers, but I do want to say one other thing that I clocked at that scene when they were being drawn together. I thought this is like that Greek allegory of where humans came from, and that's totally what they went after. Now, I don't think that's a huge spoiler.
yeah,
And the allegory is essentially that when humans were first created, we were a beast with 4 arms and 4 legs, and Zeus separated us
'Cause
into
he was-
man
he
and
was-
woman
he
because
was
we were too
scared of it.
powerful.
Yeah.
So they separated the creature into two halves, and that's why humans have sexual urges, is because we want to be one creature, which it's a cool story,
Yeah.
and that is very. I think it was like 2 or 3 scenes later. It seems like they mention it.
yeah.
So
They give a little thing with a little group of people that's related to that,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah, they
that's
give a
the backstory
reason-
behind all of this, and
yeah, they give more of a reason of why it's happening. It's not just happenstance.
it's not super fleshed out as to why it happened there and how they made it happen, kind of thing. But gives you a little bit of a thing. It's like, okay, it's an okay independent kind of idea horror thing, and then of course the way they end, I was like, okay,
You've seen Smile, right?
yeah.
I wanted to love this like I love Smile and Smile 2,
The end,
but I didn't.
the end
Smile makes me crawl.
the end of this was just like it was one of the most hokey things I've seen. I was just
Terrible.
like, I was like, really? I was like, that really. I know that she helped produce and direct some of it. I don't know if they wrote it together. It feels like a couple trying to write like a horror movie and somebody saying, let's do this. It's like, no, let's don't do that.
Well,
like,
it was-
like the movie was a compromise.
It was written and directed by Michael Shanks.
Okay. I guess they had her. She must have been a producer or something because
Yeah,
they listed her multiple times. The Alison Brie.
And it looks like as a director, he's done a movie called, or the short video series, TV series. All right, this is his first, as a director, first actual film.
Yeah. Like I said, it
Altogether.
was a valid effort.
You know, I will give him the,
I give it like a 6 out of 10, maybe a 5.
I will give him the same grace that I gave like Barbarian. It's like I enjoyed it enough to where I will see your next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Just don't be scared to make your movie next time.
He must be friends with them because that's one of those things where it's like how do you get these big actors?
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. It wasn't nearly what I thought it would be.
Yeah.
But at the end, like you said, head pat. That's a great way to put it. Like, yeah, you tried.
You tried.
Good effort. Good effort.
That was a cute horror movie.
A cute horror movie. Yeah. All right. So the next, this is a horror film as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're deep into the horror.
Yeah, I
28
had
Days
no
Later, The
intentions
Bone
to do
Temple.
this, but I was driving to Wisconsin and splitting the drive up, and I was like, I'm gonna get there in time that I can probably go see a movie. So I was like looking to see what was in the theaters, and this is the only thing that was even in the theaters at that point. Is anything that I would consider spending money on, and was pretty hesitant to go see this thing after the 28 years later, because it just seemed like they introduced all this stuff with the Jimmys, but it's not going to be Jimmy. It's just Negan. It's just Negan with blonde hair. It's like, this is just. I was kind of expecting this to just be the failed second chapter of the thing, and I'll say straight up off the bat that I was really surprised. It was a very good movie.
Oh, nice.
It is not a 28 Days Later film at all, because 28 Days Later is the infected running around and zombies running at stuff.
Would you say the 28 Years Later is a 28 Days Later film?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Because you had crawling zombies in that one, and you had the alpha chasing the guy across the bridge with hordes of people running behind him.
Yeah.
That was in that world. This was a sub film in the world of 28 Years Later. Is probably the way to say that.
Okay.
It was I don't think it's probably them getting together and saying, we kind of made a mess the first time, let's see if we can fix it. But that's really what it feels like. And it was a pretty good effort to fix it, honestly. It completely cuts out the narrative of Jamie, who is Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Interesting.
Not even a part of this movie.
All right. But the kid who played the son is, though, right?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Okay.
Which, again, this is like, that's why I say it's almost like a little sub chapter, or like a spin-off series or something from the thing. The village that was the focus where Spike and everything came from, not mentioned, never visited. Don't see any of that. Hardly anything to do with the infected if you don't count Samson, because you don't have any scenes of running from zombies or hordes of them chasing you or any of that.
I mean, that's weird to set it in that world and to have nothing, like next to nothing of that. That's interesting.
And
I mean, to me, that would be like having a Night of the Living Dead film, and there just being like one zombie in a parking lot.
That's basically where we're at.
That's ridiculous.
No crawlers. They introduce those slow crawling things that are eating worms off the ground. Don't even see them. There's multiple alphas in the first movie, and this is one alpha. So, all the hemming and hawing before this thing came out was Nia DaCosta is directing it, and she did the Marvels, and she can't do this, and blah, blah, blah. I really think this was probably letting somebody get some directing experience.
Okay, because something under her belt.
With the oversight of Alex Garland and Danny Boyle. And I think that worked, because it actually was a tight, kind of concise, good movie. But it's just not, it's not a 28 Days Later movie at all. It's really just broken into two parts. I don't know how much you want me to go into this thing. Lord Jimmy, the kid from the beginning, and he kind of bookends the first movie. You see him seeing his dad getting killed in the church at the very beginning of 28 Years Later, and then like you see him at the very end that he's like the guy in the British sweatsuit that shows up and Spike encounters them, and has nothing to do with it all with the rest of the movie. It's the story of that guy, and it's the story of Dr. Kelson. Is that right, Kelson? And Samson, the big alpha. And it really does balance, kind of going back and forth between the two, and it picks up right where Spike, he encountered them at like a sort of like a roadblock at the end of the movie, and they slaughtered the zombies that were chasing him, and it picks up right there. Like they take him back into his group and give him an opportunity to. Jimmy thinks that he is the son of Satan, and he calls Satan Old Nick.
Okay.
And I thought for a while I haven't gone back to look if Nick was his dad in the first movie or not. But it took me a minute or two to figure out that that's who he was talking about. I thought he was talking about his dad, because he was just saying, Old Nick says. I thought he was like imagining himself talking to his dad from the first movie. But it's that he's a full-on upside down cross wearing Satanist, and that he actually thinks that he is working for Satan. So.
Okay. See, I see the picture of the upside down cross. I'm always curious how they're using the upside down cross, because I think that's like St. Peter's cross or something. Like it's not like as the symbology. It is a Catholic cross.
Okay.
It just movies always tend to just say it's evil because it's upside down.
Yeah. I think it's just an easy way to make the idea that we're turning
like shorthand.
Christianity upside down. But and his whole idea is that he's, and I didn't like this part, is that his group are called the Fingers. They're they're basically the hand of Satan in all of him. He's the hand. They're all the fingers.
All right, so we got the foot from the Ninja Turtles, which was a joke from the hand on the hand from Daredevil. And they're like, well, you guys also got the fingers. The next group will be the nails.
But they all call themselves some version of Jimmy. Like there's little Jimmy and Jimmy Shite and Jimmy this and Jimmy that. So that completely to me was like, okay, so we're doing Negan. Because, and I don't know what that...
yeah, when they're the whole like, I'm Negan thing.
I don't know if that's a ideology that kind of comes from like Marxism or communism or something, that you all just give up your names and you become one thing or something. It has to come from somewhere else other than just they introduced it in The Walking Dead and introduced it into this. I guess it's a broader idea maybe. But
in Project Mayhem, we do not have names. His name was Robert Paulson.
That's true. So maybe it's all tied back to that.
Yeah. Collectivism.
But the little kid Spike, and this isn't spoiling anything, maybe this is at the very beginning, he has to, that's how you become a finger, is that I guess there can't be extra fingers. So if you want to join the group, they see somebody, it's like you have to fight one of them, and if you kill one of them, you become one. If not, they kill you. And
are there 5?
Yeah.
Okay.
So he, one of the, I think he gets to pick the one that he wants to fight. He picks a random one because he picks one of the younger ones.
Doesn't matter because you know he's going to win.
Doesn't matter because you know, I guess from the other stuff that happens with the group is like these guys are pretty skilled at fighting and they're going to kill you regardless. But he's kind of like toying with Spike, and Spike just turns around and like stabs him in his femoral artery, and is just like blood spurting out of his leg, and they're all kind of laughing at it at first, and the guy's like, you can see like he gets faint and like he just passes out and dies because he just bleeds out in like 30 seconds, and he becomes a finger because he got lucky.
This is a complete aside, but if I were writing this movie, I totally would put in the idea of, are you familiar with like the Grigori who saw daughters of men and had children with them? This is in Genesis.
No.
In Genesis, it says some sons of God came down and had daughters with the women of men because they thought they were beautiful.
Okay.
And the legend is these are like who Goliath came from.
Oh, okay.
It's like a race of people, and that blood persists in us to this day. And if someone is born with 6 fingers, that means it's a trace of the angels.
Okay.
So if I had written this, there would have been 6 fingers.
Been 6.
And I wouldn't have explained it.
Yeah.
People would have been like, what's 6 fingers? That doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. Yeah. But it kind of gets into he becomes a finger, and it becomes this thing if he's this unwilling participant in this group that goes around, and they find out a group at a farm and do the same thing with them. And I heard a lot of people saying this movie was like really brutal. It's kind of one of those things, I guess maybe my line for brutal is a lot higher than others.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this point, maybe.
My line for violence, and together might be that situation where someone else might watch together and be completely freaked out.
The idea of what they did to these people was brutal. Mm-hmm. What they portrayed on film was not. Right. But
modern filmmakers shy away from showing too much. They really do.
They catch this whole family. Of course, there's a young male there. They give him a chance to become one of the fingers. But before that, they just have the rest of the family tied up, and they skin them all. And I was like, as that was kind of starting, I was like, wow, this is gonna be rough. And it was like, eh.
Really? Okay. See, that is, skinning is one of the things that will get me anytime. I still have a hard time watching Hellraiser because of it.
It literally
a skinless
was like
person just
them dropping piles of skin onto the ground after they had skinned them, and then people hanging there.
I sound like a psycho. I want to see the skinning. No.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of feel the same way about like talking about the Together movie. It's like maybe there's something wrong with me on this one.
More graphic. Make it worse.
But yeah, they're hanging up there. They're supposedly skinned, and they just look like people smeared with like corn syrup. And I was like, okay. Man. It's like maybe we don't teach biology anymore, and maybe that's.
Have you seen the Hellraiser films?
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that suit they put the cosmetics they put them in
Yeah.
still get me to this day.
I hunt and have had to skin animals.
Oh,
and
so yeah, so yeah,
it's kind of hard to sell
Yeah.
me skinning something in a movie if you don't skin it. And
yeah.
I was like, okay. But that the idea was there, so maybe that's maybe more 50s horror-ish than you had the idea of horror.
Maybe.
Maybe that's enough for most people.
Now we're saying that directors shy away from being too graphic in horror films. We will see if that holds true with Sam Raimi next month, because I will absolutely watch Send Help this following month. It's in February sometime.
Yeah, it's in the theaters now, I think.
Right now?
Yeah.
I think it might be. Actually, yeah, I think it might be right now, because
Yeah.
I tried to go see it last weekend and it wasn't in theaters.
Yeah.
I might be doing that tomorrow.
But the whole thing kind of comes into this idea of a girl in this from the farm escapes, and she comes back when her husband, father of her kid, she's very pregnant, is fighting one of the fingers, and she kills one of the fingers and then sets the barn on fire. And several of the fingers die, so it gets in this thing like where he's lost control of his group.
So if he has fewer fingers than 5, does he have to run out and go get 3 more? If he
Well,
only
yeah,
has 2?
it's just that you can't just do that in this world because this is the island
Right.
of England, and there's not very
Well, they
many
should have
people
killed that
left.
other dude.
But
Have
this is
spare
where it kind
fingers.
of ties back into Samson, or to is it Kettleson or Kettleson?
I don't know.
Kelson is the Ralph Fiennes character from the first one that's painted orange and living in the Bone Temple and all that stuff. And going back and forth as you're going through this whole thing with the fingers and Jimmy is he's been experimenting with the alpha and giving it morphine. Like he started darting it from a distance and basically got
Well, he was doing that in the 28 years later.
but he basically got it hooked on morphine.
Oh.
So it started showing
Like a
up.
dog?
It started showing
You're
up every
showing
day
up?
like
Can I have something?
I'm here for my morphine dose. And actually got to the point where it would come to him and
That's
let
clever.
him, let
That's
him
clever.
inject it instead of doing it. And then like once it would do it, it would like sit down with him and he would just sit there and talk to Samson, and Samson would just be sitting there just spaced out like staring up in the air. But the other thing that he was doing, and I think this is clever in the writing to do something with this story going forward, is that he's been keeping logs on everything that all these people that he's dealt with, all these bones, that made all these things were people he destroyed and burned and put into his temple. But it kind of, I don't think it really showed that in the first one, but I think it kind of interjects it into this, that he has several books of like all these logs of things he was observing and things that he was tried with people that he's encountered over the years. And he's trying to figure out like a way to still treat this thing.
Okay.
And he thought he had a thing. He's injected him while he's on morphine with other things just to see what happens. And he thought he had maybe a mix of something that like might actually work, and of course it didn't. And he got to where he's almost out of morphine because Samson's just showing up every day like, give me drugs. And he finally gets to the point that's like because he's kind of become attached to Samson, is like he's just gonna euthanize him and put him down because he doesn't have enough morphine to keep giving it to him. And when Samson's sitting there just spaced out and stuff, like sitting there staring at the sky, and like when he's getting ready to inject him, Samson's like, moon. So he speaks.
Whoa.
And he's like, hang on a minute. It's like, did you just talk? And
That's kind of crazy.
kind of gets into the thing where he's been documenting trying different psychiatric drugs, because I guess he's sort of figured out it was sort of like a rage virus. And that if he could calm that part of it, that if anybody could ever recover or return any of their humanity or anything from this infection, and it goes back and tries a different concoction of stuff, gives it back to Samson, and Samson like wanders off back to the train from the first movie, and remembers being on the train, like being there as a kid, and that's where he got attacked and got infected to begin with, and has an imaginary conversation where he speaks again, like with the person he's remembering taking his ticket, and all the other zombies like turn on him and try to kill him, which is kind of a cool scene because like Samson just starts like, that's the only time you have any other zombies in this whole movie, is they're all by that train, they hear him, or they come and attack him, and he's just like, he's throwing zombies through the top of the train and out the windows and stuff.
Them turning on the alpha is interesting.
Yeah, and I think have to see where they go with the next one. It kind of seems like he stumbled onto the cure for this thing.
Yeah.
Because Samson comes back in the movie. I don't know if we want to spoil the very end of it or not, but comes back. Kelson gets taken care of in this whole thing because the other part of the story is that Jimmy loses control of the gang. He goes to meet Kelson because the girl Jimmy had seen Kelson and Samson just sitting there talking, and all this talk about Satan and old Nick. She thought, it's like, I think I found Satan. It's like he's over there on this hill and he's talking to giant zombies, and he was painted red and orange and stuff.
Yeah, because what, the iodine or whatever he covered himself in?
Because of something Spike did. He wants to kill Spike. Lord Jimmy does. And she's like, why don't we take him to Satan and let Satan decide what to do with him? So he goes to talk to Samson, or to Kelson, and he figures out that Kelson's just an old dude that's hanging out in the country, and makes a deal with him. He's like, I need you to put on a show and convince these people that you're Satan. And that's the whole thing with the pictures you see of fiends is he gets out like an old Iron Maiden album. He's got like a record player and he plays like Mark of the Beast or Number of the Beast or something, runs around and puts on like a pyrotechnic show and like scares the crap out of the remaining Jimmies, and they all think that he's Satan. But then like in the process, all the fingers, they wear like these little ratty, I think I had a picture of them, those little ratty looking masks. Is that while he's doing this show, he like runs past Spike and sees that that Spike is among these kids, and he knew Spike from the first movie. So like he turns the tables on Jimmy completely, and he's like, well, I'll do all this. I'll bless your group of fingers and all this stuff, and give you the power to keep reigning over the country. But I need you to crucify Lord Jimmy. So.
This is the picture you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get these like little masks that they put on so that they have no identity and all this stuff.
It looks to me kind of like they're aping Leatherface.
Yeah, it's very, very just kind of rough, sewn together. They're not like skin masks. I thought that's what they were when I first saw them. It was like, is that really people's? Because they skinned these people in the bar. And I was like, are they really making masks out of the skin? But again, they didn't cross the line that I would have crossed if I was writing it. But I think we talked about what I would have done in the first movie, which would have crossed all sorts of lines. But
now, it doesn't seem like this. This seemed like this was 100% a sequel to 28 Years Later.
Just to that. Okay. But I think the genius of it, and there is something that at the end that I won't give away, that sets up the third movie that they're planning. But I think what this thing does is it takes care of Kelson, takes care of Jimmy. Doesn't really cure the problem with the alphas or anything like that, but it does present this idea of like maybe there's a way to do something with the infected that are left. Because you get a tie back in with the survivors at the end of this movie to 28 Days Later. And the casting that they did for that is brilliant. I don't know, did I spoil that part or not?
Yeah, it's all right.
There's casting a child of a earlier character that literally looks like if that character had a child.
Really?
That's what that person would look like. And I was like, oh my gosh. So it's gonna come back to them, and I don't know what you do with it from there. You could go into them relaying to other people that Kelson was on to something and trying to go that route with it, or I don't think you can get it much more out of this franchise than that. I think you bring back some nostalgic characters from the first movie, and you had this little side narrative with Jimmy and his fingers and all this kind of stuff that really didn't seem like it needed to be introduced, and I think maybe they recognized that, so they closed that off, and were able to do it. I think in a good way. Like I said, it was an entertaining movie that I would 100% watch again, and that's knowing that all the problems that they had with 28 Years Later and the sequel to the first one, that a lot of people didn't like a lot of where all that went.
Anymore, that's where the high praise is would you spend more time on it?
Yeah.
Would you watch it again? Yeah.
What they did with it plants enough things. I was talking about after 28 Years Later. This is what I would have done if I made this movie, because they didn't do this and they didn't do this. in all these ways that I would have fixed it. This one leaves me thinking, well, they've got it laid out. They've got their story laid out for their next one. It just depends on whether they do it or not. And
Well, the budget for this movie, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, was about 63 million USD. And according to Box Office Mojo, it has so far brought in worldwide 46.5 million.
and it's still in theaters, so
It might, maybe. Of course, you never know how it is with like the executives that write these checks. It's like sometimes a movie looks like it's going to bomb. It will a movie that has bombed. You're like, we'll never see that again. Someone wants to see more of it, so there'll be more of it.
Yeah.
And the opposite happens too. It's like, well, this movie did well, but not well enough.
Cillian Murphy, or Killian Murphy, I guess is how you say it. Excuse me.
Yeah, sometimes if
He's-
the right name is behind it.
He was behind this one, the production of this one, and he is going to be majorly behind the writing and production of the next one.
Okay.
So it may just be that it's like, I've been around Hollywood enough. Y'all are going to make this movie, and
Yeah.
if we make some money, fine. If not, oh well. Y'all can still roll around in the money I made off of Oppenheimer for everybody.
I've always assumed that there's a bit of give and take with that sort of thing, where an actor will be like, okay, I'll do this for you, but you have to do this for me, kind of
Yeah.
thing, even if it's not explicit.
Yeah, I think a movie like this, they'll sell it to some streaming services and probably do some Blu-ray releases of it and all that stuff. They'll probably get close back to it. Again, it's still in the theater now.
Well,
so
it definitely won't be at the same pace between 28 years later and 28 years later Bone Temple.
yeah, I went to go see it in right outside of Indianapolis in an AMC theater. And I think there were 4 other people there. So it was not drawing it, but I did go see a 9 o'clock show too. So I saw a late
And
one
you were
there.
you were traveling to get home, and
Well, I was traveling
it
on the way out to Wisconsin.
Oh, it was to Wisconsin. Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't impending snow at the time.
But I also went to an AMC theater where I went in. There was a person that actually sold tickets at a ticket booth.
Oh.
And then went to the food place, and there were people that were staffed up there, and I ordered some nachos and got that. Then went right into the theater and sat down in a reclining chair with a cup holder on the side and had my nachos and watched all the previews and reclined, and it was clean. And compare that to experience in Roanoke, where you go up to the one spot at the counter that there's 6 people back there, and 3 of them they're on their phones. You have to buy your ticket and your food from the same one, and then only one of them can take cash.
Yep.
And in between, if Randy's in front of me and orders nachos and corn dogs, I have to wait for the nachos and corn dogs to get prepared and sold to Randy before I can buy my ticket. And that's how Roanoke operates. And apparently us in Roanoke, we just don't deserve nice things.
There have been multiple times where I'll want to go see a movie, and I'll walk inside and I'll see like a line or whatever. I'll get on my phone, buy the ticket like on Fandango, pay the $1.25 fee, and just walk right in. I won't even, because they want you to go to the counter to check in, even if you buy your ticket online.
Yeah.
I won't even do that. I'll just walk past. I'm like, I've paid. I'm going to go see the film.
Yeah, no, it's.
Just bypass that whole kerfuffle.
I've seen lots of things talk about theaters and how the theater model is just in a death spiral, and it's probably true, but I don't think it would be the case if you had everything set up like that to where the experience was good. And maybe
That's the biggest part of the theater. It has to be a nice experience.
the people in Indianapolis may just be like, they don't appreciate that at all because they haven't had to be somewhere like Roanoke where it's just a garbage experience. But
One of my favorite theaters I've been in was down in Hampton Roads area, and I don't remember what brand theater it was, but it was a small room. I mean, 50 by 200 maybe. It was a very small room. The rows had like 4 seats in them, and the seats were very comfortable.
yeah,
But just the coziness of that room was great.
it'd be cool to have.
You don't need to have like these huge lavish
Yeah.
theaters. Just something that's nice to
A horror
be in.
movie is a better experience when you're not like sitting right up against other people, but
Yeah.
when there are other people around that you can watch their reactions to as part of the experience for me anyway. So
Did you ever see the movie? I think it's called One Lost Phone.
no,
It's a horror film. Is it One Lost Phone? I'm going to check right now. Well, the reason I'm telling you about it is it was the first movie that I've ever seen that I was the only other person in the theater. I hopped around that theater the entire film. I was like, well, let me see what it looks like from over here.
Yeah, there's been multiple films that I've gone in and I've been the only person there, and it's just like, okay, I guess I'll sit here for a while. And my fear there is that if I'm in the theater by myself, that I'm gonna fall asleep and wake up like, I don't know if anybody even comes in to clean the theaters in Roanoke anymore. If I wake up later, like 4 hours later in the day, and they're showing the same movie again. And
Well, I'm not seeing it. One Lost Phone is definitely not the name of it. Nothing's popping up when I Google horror movie about a phone.
eh,
Yeah.
probably doesn't help that Black Phone.
One Missed Call.
Okay.
That was it. It's like The Ring, like
Yeah.
the same kind of phone,
Yeah.
or same kind of. It's a Japanese horror film that they make an American version of. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, 28
years later, Bone
later,
Temple.
Bone Temple.
It's a mouthful,
It was a pretty solid movie.
but it was good enough to where you're excited for the rest of the
Yeah, because
hopeful for the franchise.
the thing that I didn't want to see any more of, and the guy that plays Jimmy and all the actors and stuff in this, they do a great job.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good version of Negan Part 6, I guess. But I'm just not that interested in that kind of storyline again, and it seemed like they on some level recognized that and closed it out. So
Well, maybe someone will come up something fresh with the zombie genre at some point.
yeah, and closing this one out to either the island is lost or they find a way to save it. You can do that in one more movie and just wrap this whole running series up in the next film. So I hope they do.
Okay. Well, the last one I'm going to talk about is the only film that wasn't a part of a dessert at some point. It's Redline.
I've got this sitting over there, and my intentions last night were to get that out and watch it, and then I was like, let me do the Together instead, because I don't remember enough of that to just go off the top of my head and remember very much about that movie, but I'm sure I would have remembered it as soon as I started watching it again.
Well, I've known about this for years simply because of the art style, and I was under the impression for years that this was a series.
Yeah, no,
It's just a movie.
just a movie about a race.
Yeah, about a race. Main character is JP. He's an outlaw racer. He and his friend got into some hot water. His name is Frisbee. And he's like, in this world, they're like aliens, but they're also like orc-looking people and stuff like that. It's kind of a cyberpunk world.
Kind of a mix of Speed Racer and the pod race from
Yeah.
Attack of the Clone, or
Oh, it definitely took inspiration from pod racing.
Phantom Menace, or whichever
Yeah.
one that was.
And because he got in trouble with Frisbee because they were fixing races, and he went to jail for a little bit for that and whatnot. And Frisbee is in debt to some gangsters. It's almost a classic setup.
Yeah, yeah.
And JP is a great racer, but he doesn't quite make it to the next race. He's in the yellow tier racing, the yellow lines or whatever they call it. And because of like a technicality, he becomes qualified for the red line, and that's what it is. It's this race that's taking place on Robo World, and Robo World is this fascistic government that doesn't like any racing on their world at all, and so that's why they're having it there, to be like an FU to the man kind of situation.
Yeah.
And so that gives them an antagonist for the film, because the people who are in charge of Robo World want to demonstrate to the galaxy that you don't mess with us, and so they just want to destroy them.
Yeah.
And racing and mayhem ensues.
Yeah,
It's a fun time.
I remember it's just a pretty wall to wall action
Yeah.
anime.
At the end, they have a giant Akira baby made of like I don't know, nuclear material or something. It's just this big glowing baby that expands.
I was looking to see who it's got to be some of the same animation from the Animatrix.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those guys.
I looked up who animated it. It says Madhouse, and then I clicked on Madhouse, and there's like 5,000 things that came up. So like stuff
all
like
right.
Black Lagoon and Trigun and even Death Note.
I think maybe the director might be better to look up there.
Yeah, I think so, because I think that's probably director is Takashi
Lupin the Third,
Koike.
The Boy and the Beast,
Okay.
the Iron Man anime.
The it looked like the animation style reminded me a lot of
Afro Samurai. Okay.
the Afro Samurai and the Sprinter and the Matrix.
Yeah, Animatrix segment world record, and yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So that's totally where it's from. And the thing, I kind of went back to this because I was getting into the anime of different styles.
Yeah.
Because I've said before how, like our Western culture considers anime to be a style, kind of like you consider the Disney style.
Yeah, yeah.
But anime is not. It's not a ubiquitous style across all anime. It's very varied.
I found
in the
that out the
style.
hard way because I've been fascinated with Science Saru with everything they did until they did Sanda that we had to watch at Christmas time. And then I was like, okay, so I don't like everything that they do.
Sanda was almost on this month's appetizers, but I didn't get to the last episode, so I'm a very slow watcher.
And from an animation standpoint, Sanda,
yeah, I
Sanda
think-
was as beautiful as any of this other stuff.
I
It
love
was just,
thick lines. I like thick lines in anime.
but just the content of that was
We'll
not
di-
my thing.
We'll discuss that next month.
Ugh.
I know you're not looking forward to it. That's something to not look forward to for you. But the thing that really struck me about this animation style explicitly is, to me, this feels more like an American film. Like
Oh,
this
yeah.
feels more like heavy metal.
Yeah.
From like the 80s.
Yeah, it's like somebody come to the people when Fast and the Furious was super popular and say, "Hey, can you make like an anime movie like
Oh,
this?"
Yeah, this totally could have been a Fast and the Furious anime film. Absolutely.
Yeah, if you just took the already over the top concepts, what by Fast and the Furious like 6 and 7, aren't they like they're having tanks and submarines and just all kinds of nonsense in those movies. They're racing on the ice while there's a submarine like coming up, and it's like you took all that and all the crazy stuff that they probably wanted to do that you just could not do practically, and it's like let's just make it into an animation or an anime, one or the other.
And I technically watched this in December. I watched it while I was visiting family, and everybody was like passed out, asleep, on turkey and sugary snacks and stuff. And I was like, I'm fine. I'm not. I don't want to take a nap. And I was like, I looked at my, what was it on? It's like on Amazon Prime or something. I was like, hey, let's watch this.
I had
And
it
was
on my
watching
list of things to watch because you talked about it, and we were supposed to be in Wisconsin probably about another 5 or 6 days, but as we started to watch the ice storm of the century unfold, it was like we probably better like leave and go back home and try to get home before that hits. So we cut our stay short, but I was trying to get through all the Evangelion stuff, and then
Yeah.
I was going to do that, and I had to actually finish Evangelion after we got home because it just ran out of nights up there. As we like I said, we cut a stay short where everybody goes to bed early up there, and I was like, I could stay up and watch an anime movie and still be fine. So that was on my list to do after the last Evangelion movie, but I wasn't able to finish that till I got back. And we'll talk about it more when we get into Evangelion. I had to watch the last one a second time
We'll talk about that.
because at
I
some point in the Evangelion stuff, I was just like, am I supposed to understand what's happening or not? And I started doing a lot of reading and researching and YouTube video watching. And,
Well, when I was watching this at my parents' house, it was one of those situations, and it was just a callback to my youth, where this anime is like 99.9% just like cars,
just race cars.
weird aliens, and violence, right? But there's this team of
There's boobies.
girls who are from they're like queens or something, and they do these like racer introductions, and during their introductions they bounced boobily, and yeah, that's the point my parents woke up. I'm like, of course I'm a middle-aged man and still having my parents walk in on the part of the anime that is boobily.
The 20 seconds that are the
Yeah.
only bad part there. And
Yeah. oh, okay.
This falls into one of those ones that I think I had watched it before, and I was like, oh, I remember just like, oh, that's a cool like car anime.
Mm-hmm.
That as our son was kind of getting it,
Right.
when we were, gosh, probably 6, 7, 8, in that age,
Mm-hmm.
big into Hot Wheels. We actually found groups where we could go around and like race, and
Yeah.
then like I still think that we probably shut all that down and run out because we came home and built tracks and test cars before races and showed up and like won everything. And I think all the old guys were like, well, if y'all are gonna win everything, we're just not gonna do
We're
it
not gonna
anymore.
come.
But we were into that, got into this like little sideline thing that Hot Wheels did where they made little movies called the Acceleracers and the World Race, which was their attempt at making an animated franchise out of
Mm-hmm.
Hot Wheels stuff that just never took off. But I think because yeah, they were following all the Fast and the Furious street racing stuff with all of that, and we were into all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, I remember there's this cool anime with like racing stuff, and I got that out and we watched it. And of course, however far into it, there was animated boobs, and I was having to look over at the wife and be like,
Sorry.
sorry,
Sorry.
forgot.
God.
I, they don't do anything for me. A drawn picture of that is the reason I don't remember stuff like that. If it's excessive, I'll remember it because I'm like, well, that's too much. We're not watching that again. But in this, it's literally just it just pops up or
Yeah,
pops
yeah.
out.
It pops out.
It pops somewhere.
It bounces up.
Yeah, but it's a cool
yeah,
flick.
it's a cool anime.
And definitely another one of those things. It's like if you knew somebody that was big into action movies and car chases and racing type things, and they're like, I've never seen like an anime. It's like I got one for you.
I could see this being like a topic in like animation schools and stuff.
Yeah,
Because I think that is the primary reason to watch this is because it is beautiful and unique animation.
that's the
It's all hand drawn.
we should start like a service or something to be like we'll be the people that help. We'll be the anime introducers or something, where you have a group of people. It's like I want to like try anime, but I don't know what. It's like, well, what do you like?
Yeah.
Because if you tell me what you like, I can guarantee
That-
you I can come up with one that will match your tastes.
That actually sounds like a really good idea for like an app.
Yeah,
Have like 3 sections and be three spots and be like, put 3 things you like in here, and if you like those 3 things, you'll like this one.
yeah. If you like
Yeah.
racing action movies, this. If you like dramas, then
That sounds like a program you could like literally have Chat GPT make.
probably.
Probably.
Which is why nobody's probably else has done it. You just why pay somebody to do it if you can go on Google and see if it.
I'm going to try that later. I'll actually ask ChatGPT that. I like these 3 things. Recommend something.
Yeah,
Let's see.
yeah. I think we've got enough background in
No.
between us that we know
Oh yeah.
so many different layers of anime that we could direct you towards good stuff.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I guess if you're like I like the P Hub site, and I'd be like, well, okay, there's some anime that would be your thing, but
I would give ChatGPT like 3 really different things just to see what it come up with.
yeah.
I don't know. I'll let you know if I do it. I'll probably forget by the time I get around to doing it.
It'd be funny to just watch it give you the same answer regardless of
Yeah.
whatever you put into
Yeah.
it.
Well, you would like Cowboy Bebop on Netflix. Well, there's one other thing. This is an interjection that I want to talk about, simply because it's the only time I really can talk about it, is Anthem. Have I ever told you about this game at all? Have you even
No.
heard about this game? All right, so
not on your
it's
computers behind me.
it's called Anthem and is made by BioWare, the people who made Mass Effect. And when it came out, it was really there was a lot of hope for it. And it's a game where you pretty much fly around like Iron Man in the future, and you're on this planet, and you're trying to figure out this thing called the Anthem of Creation. And that's pretty much all the plot is. There's a bad guy who's trying to take control of the Anthem. You're trying to stop him. That's the plot. It's a
I was
really
You talk about like arts and things like that. I was just looking at all the artwork on the picture
Oh, yeah.
that you got behind me, and it looks kind of like Infinite Horizon a little bit, and you definitely like what's the thing where you're exploring space all the time?
No Man's Sky.
No Man's Sky, like where it's got all those suits and
Yeah.
things like that. That
That's funny that you say that, because after I played this, because in No Man's Sky you do have jetpacks,
Yeah.
I'm like, No Man's Sky needs this kind of jetpack.
Yeah.
Because flying around in No Man's Sky like you can in Anthem would be amazing.
Yeah.
But the reason I say this is the only time I can talk about it is the game's done now. They shut it down this month, or this past month.
It was just an online thing.
Yeah, and it was up for like 7 or 8 years, and it was real. Like when it got released, it was like bricking people's consoles. It was just horrible. It was a horrible release. They deserve the ire that people gave them,
Yeah.
and the people didn't come back to it. A lot of times, a game will release and there'll be problems, and they'll fix the problems, and people will come back.
Yeah.
Didn't happen here.
This is how primitive my video game library is that all the stuff that you could play online through Nintendo with the 2DS and 3DS, that was what occupied us whenever we went on trips and went to different places. You could get online. You used to be able to go to McDonald's and connect to the Nintendo network. And
all that stuff is one of the things I'm most critical about Nintendo now, is they got rid of their home console and their handheld console for the Switch.
Yeah.
But none of the residual services that they had with like the 3DS came over.
Yeah,
Or the Wii.
We got notices on the games that were like, "This is all going to end on whatever date." And I'm like, "How can you end it?" It's like, I want to keep playing some of this, and it was like, "Nope." And that's just what makes me think of that. It's like, why do you make a game that exists only as an online thing? Now, I know that there's an expense to keep maintaining a server and all that stuff and updating stuff and all that. But
the thing that's frustrating about games like Anthem is I played the whole game solo.
Yeah.
They have bots to where you can like be a team. They could be your team member.
Yeah.
They're not good,
Yeah.
but I know they could. I know that technology exists.
Yeah.
They could have updated Anthem to where it'd be like, okay, well now you just play it offline.
Yeah.
No, now I have a coaster that does nothing. Now, I had played this when it first came out, and I enjoyed it. I played with my father. We both enjoyed it. He didn't really get that much into it, so he didn't want to continue playing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'll play it by myself. And by the time I had gone back to play it by myself, this was a few years ago at this point, the ping, which is like the rate of communication from your network to their network, was so bad that it would do this thing called rubber banding, where like you'd be flying along and then suddenly you're like 50 feet back from where you were, and it made the game unplayable.
Yeah.
And so I was like, well, I guess I'll never play this game again.
Yeah.
And I got a PlayStation 5, and they had announced like 7 or 8 months ago that they were shutting down. And then at the beginning of December, they're like, remember, we shut down in January. And I was like, huh. You know what? Let me go buy a PlayStation version, because I was playing it on the Xbox One, not even the Xbox Series. So I was like, well, maybe the fact that the PlayStation 5 is a more powerful console might help with the technical issues. And it ran like butter. It was great. Now, I always enjoyed it. Their technical issues aside, I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the world, enjoyed the story. It was fun to play. Combat's fun. I had a great time with it. Bummed that it's done, but that's one of the things I did in December and January, is I played the crap out of this game. So, R.I.P. Anthem.
You're talking about like how the bots were bad, the ones that helped you in the game.
Yeah, they sucked. And I'm not great.
This is where I come into being 10 years ahead of you there. Played Rainbow Six Rogue Spear. That was one of the first like ones of those little where you could have the team of 4. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if it had I think it had online playability or something.
Yeah.
But
that was around the turn of the century, wasn't it?
I had dial-up internet on like a compact computer. I don't think they've made compacts for I don't know how long. But I played it all the time with your little teammates that was supposed to go with you. And it was so funny. I can remember, you'd set up to go to the place where they're usually doing a lot of sniping and stuff like that, trying to get to somebody's holding the terrorist is holding a hostage here, and you've got to get there and neutralize them so they don't kill the hostage.
One of those games that was a big deal because you could like shoot through walls if you knew where they were. Was that?
You couldn't in that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But it always just cracked me up that you're supposed to be holding all supposed to be quiet and you're not setting off anything, and the little bots would just be running past you, running back and running all over the place, like running right out in front of like where the people
great.
are and not being detected at all. And they'd be really glitchy, you know, they'd be sitting there trying to turn the corner and they'd be like
They'd run out and like twitch.
and then they run back behind you again.
That's great.
I was like, yeah, they didn't detect that at all. I was like, you imagine if there were 4 of us that went there and I got down behind like a pile of like firewood and the other 4 guys just started running in circles. Just all,
The bad guy is just kind of shielding his eyes. I don't see you.
don't see anything.
That's great.
I used to just sit there and laugh playing those things. I go back and play them like Lone Wolf all the time because like you could go through and try to do like your little silent pistol kills and stuff and try to actually not set anything off and trigger any of the bad guys and stuff like that. But that was so. And you can also in the Lone Wolf, if you found like the right spot, you could go sit on a hill and just shoot your sniper rifle one time, and everybody would just like run out from wherever they were, and you could just sit there and just pick them off, and you'd sit there in that same spot and just shoot and shoot and shoot. And the same thing, yeah, the bad guy would like run out, and, like he'd just sit there and like twitch, and he'd run back in the door and run back out. And I don't know how many times I cleared those levels, but like I just went to a spot and just shot one time. I was like, here I am. But,
I remember there being some game. I'm trying to look it up. I don't. It's not popping up. But there have been games that the enemy AI is too accurate, like during development, that they have to make them dumber because the enemy AI has gotten that good.
there was a thing that we had on like this was back on Macintosh PCs, like the little TV monitor
Yeah.
with the computer inside.
You turn it on and it goes boo. Yeah.
That it was like a robot wars, and you had like 8 robots, and you could program like on your turn, you would program your robot to go 8 steps and then fire down this alley at anything that appeared. You could have machine guns, like missile launcher or whatever, and the computer would have a team that would do the same thing, and you're just trying to predict what you're going to do, and that was the best game.
Nice.
You could just go send like a guy with like a heavy machine gun, and just he would go out into the aisle and he would just scan and shoot anything that came out while the rest of your team moved. It's like the way that those Rainbow Six games should have functioned. but,
Right.
But in Rainbow Six, they were just running around like, "Hey, look at me!" I don't remember what that game was called, but God, it was such a fun game. I played that thing all the time, and I think you could play it with 2 people. So like you could program in what you wanted to do, and then I could do my turn, and you could just watch it all play out. And
There's
it
a
was good times.
game series called XCOM that sounds a lot like that, where you move your characters and like you move your character and it'll like show them more of the map, and you can decide to like shoot, crouch, guard, that kind of thing.
The more modern versions of that are probably like Fire Emblem and stuff.
Yeah.
Or-
Same kind of game. Yeah.
Yeah, but,
Tactical.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we're going to talk about for this episode for the appetizers.
Yeah.
The next episode, we're going to talk about Evangelion.
Yep. And it's that's a main course with a lot of dishes.
Yeah. So we are going to focus primarily on the rebuilds. I do have some stuff to say about the series as a whole.
I have not watched the series. I've gone back and read a lot about the series and watched YouTube summaries of things, but I could not find a way to watch the series, and I wouldn't have had time to anyway with this. And I think
I'm interested to know if my conclusions are the consensus.
my wife's talking about some Pokemon Go streamer that she watches was talking on her thing about how they'd gone back and watched some Evangelion, and then she came out with a thing about this is the order you should watch Evangelion in. It's like there is no order to watch this in.
No.
There's
Well, I mean, the individual, like within the series.
yeah,
Yeah.
but no, these properties are not like you need to watch this and then watch this and watch this because we'll get into more of that. They are not connected. I mean, they're connected, but they're one is not dependent on the other. One is a deviation from the next, and so on and so forth.
I think it probably deviates even more than you're thinking. But that's next time on Appalachian Dim Sum.
Yeah, we'll save that for
Evangelion.
where we can dive into that a little deeper.
Yeah. All right. Well, those are some good movies. I enjoyed the game, so I appreciate it, Joel. Thank you.
Yeah, it's nice to to actually have some time where you watch some things and actually enjoy them.
I was gonna say I'm glad we've gotten some stuff we've enjoyed, because over the past year there have been some times where I'm just like,
It's been hard.
yeah, I've just been like, this is what I watched. I didn't like it, but whatever.
Yeah.
And we have always said we don't want to just rag on stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to bring stuff I enjoy.
Yeah. And hopefully present some things to y'all to try out so
Yeah.
you can enjoy them.
Maybe you haven't seen. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next time.
Later.